Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for coming back and supporting me. I love you guys oh so much. Today I'm kind of slumming it. I've got my P.A.W. Sweatshirt on. Look at all the stains on this guy. I have painted in this. There's, oops, where's stuff? God knows. God knows. God knows what's all over my shirt. I have no idea. I've had this shirt for like, I don't know, 20 years. Look, the arms are falling apart. Yep, that is my life. I love this sweatshirt though. Hi guys, how's it going? Today we are doing the next installment in my Palette Roulette series. I believe we are on number, I don't know, 43 or some crazy thing like that. I am really digging this background. I hope you guys are too. I love that I can sit here and have a table and talk to you guys. I feel like a little more, I don't know, at home doing this. Today, in my Palette Roulette series, we are going to talk about the Morphe 9G Oh My Gorge palette. This palette is a 9-pan palette by Morphe. It looks like this. It does have a nice mirror in it, which I think is spectacular because most Morphe palettes do not have mirrors. It is ranked 4.5 stars on the Morphe.com site for this palette, but it only has 6 reviews. For Ulta.com, it is ranked 3.1 stars with 33 reviews. I think that the 3.1 stars is a little more accurate than the 4.5. I did do a get ready with me using this palette. I believe it went up yesterday. I will go ahead and link it in the cards for you guys to view it. It is a difficult palette to work with. Today I've kind of got just this little simple eye look. It's got this yellow in it and this brown in it, and my lower lash line is this like kind of like rusty purple color called Primp. It has 3 mattes and 6 shimmers or metallics in here. In the 9 pans, it is 13.5 grams of product or 0.48 ounces, which equates to about 0.053 ounces per shadow, which is pretty par for the course. It's pretty normal. And it does cost $12 for the palette, which isn't a bad price. Morphe is pretty phenomenal for its lesser pricing. That is really why people go for these palettes, is because you do get some really good quality, honestly, for a very small price point. I have experienced better I've experienced better quality in shadows, so I know that these were not exactly the best. I think I do have a couple of eye looks in there where it doesn't look blended hardly at all. You see in my Get Ready With Me, which again, like I said, I will link up in the cards, I found that the mattes and the shimmers in this palette were kind of like 2 magnets that were at the same ends of their positive or negative that you're trying to stick together, and they're just kind of like trying to detract from each other instead of attract from each other to each other. They don't necessarily blend perfectly. I know that for this blend here, I had to really work with it. The yellow does, the gold, the hot glam, this shade here, does tend to blend a little bit better than some of the other ones. I don't know if it's because it's more creamy or less creamy. I'm not sure what the deal is with this palette, but the shimmers just don't like the mattes in the palette. It doesn't play well with itself, let alone with others. It's a very strange palette. I loved the color story to this palette. It's very much a fall color story. It reminds me a lot of, I don't know, what I want to wear right now, like big old sweaters and scarves, and yeah, it just reminds me of that. I do think that I got some really great eye looks out of it, but at the same time, like, I guess they could have been better. Like I said, there are 3 mattes. Did I say 3 mattes? Yeah. There are Three mattes. The mattes on their own are super, super blendable. They have great pigment, but they're very basic shades. So you have this one here, which is Filter. It is just like a peachy undertone, flesh toned color, and it works really well in your brow bone. I have it in my brow bone today. It works really well as an all over like setting shade. It's a great basic matte shade. Then you have this one, which is Headshot. It is a nice like mustardy brown. I think it's a lot more yellow than a lot of other browns in my collection, but it's not like a stand out shade. It's not a shade that I don't think I have in my collection. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I have I think I have a shade by Makeup Geek that is very, very, very similar to this one. So then you have this one, which is Posse, I believe, or Pose. It might be Pose. I think it's Pose. Posse, whatever. Which is just kind of like a really burnt orange red shade that isn't unique to any of the palettes in my collection. Honestly, every red or orange palette that I have has a shade just like this in it. But like I said, they're really creamy. They're very, very buttery, and they blend really well into each other. The shimmers, so a lot of the darker ones have really a black base, and you'll see that in the swatches that I have for you. They have a really black base, so putting them on your eye look. This one in particular, Catwalk in particular, looks like this really pretty like purple shade, a real nice plum, and it is actually boasted as a purple shimmer, and it is actually more black. It shows up more black in your eye look than anything else. I put it into the crease and one of my very first days wearing this palette, and it was just more black. It was more black than plum. So a lot of them have really black bases. They all work better applied with your finger. Do not try a brush. They do not work well. This yellow in my eye look today is the Hot Glam, and that was all applied with my finger. Y'all know how much I hate going into an eyeshadow with my finger, but that is exactly how these work well. The only one that I found to work great with a brush and a finger is this one here, which is Sachet. It is a really pretty, just really beautiful white based shimmer color. It goes really pretty into your brow bone, into your inner corner, on your lid. It is so pretty and really amps up any look that I did with this palette. This palette is great for super dark sultry looks, but anybody who wants any kind of like bright look, this isn't the palette for you. These shimmers aren't going to do it for you. If you are into the fall tones and are looking for an interesting color story, this is a great one for you, but note that a lot of the darker shimmers do come off really black based, and your eye look, they just look black. So unless you're putting them on with your finger. The staying power is pretty subpar, honestly, with or without a primer. It really didn't last long on my eyes. Without a primer, good couple hours, maybe. With a primer, it was probably about 4 hours in, and I was noticing a lot of dishevelment in my eye look, a lot of moving around, and the shimmer portions were completely gone. I did notice that I hit hard pan almost immediately on several shades, which is weird for me. I don't think I've ever hit really hard pan on a eyeshadow, but this one here especially I hit hard pan on several times. I had to scrape the top of it. And I think a lot of it is because I have to use my finger. So the natural oils from your finger go into these pans, and then they're just toast. You have to scrape the hard pan off. Or I used tape over the top of them and just pulled off those few times, pulled off the very top layer of the shadows just to dig into it more. So when I say 3.1 stars is probably more accurate, the one that's off of the Ulta.com website, the one that goes into this a little more in depth, the one that you're seeing 33 reviews. A lot of those reviews were really good and saying, well, people just don't know how to work with Morphe shadows. I know how to work with Morphe shadows. I have a ton of Morphe palettes. I also have a ton of higher end, a ton of low end, and a ton of just middle of the line. I would say these are higher drugstore, you know, par level, and this is just, in my opinion, a really subpar palette for Morphe. Will it stay in my collection? Oh man, that's hard. That's a hard sell because I really do love the colors in this palette, but it's just a really hard sell for me. I am going to go ahead and put the, because again, I kind of swatch like an idiot. Well, you guys can kind of see here in this picture how they look in real life. They're just kind of meh, but the sleeve of my sweatshirt has also been over the top of them. But this should tell you something. Look at the sleeve of my sweatshirt has been laying over the top of them. So like they're starting to rub off. It's only been over the top of them as long as this video has been going, which is what, 12 minutes. And this is without primer. So anything that wafts across your eyeball, the shade is going to be gone. Gone. I'm going to go ahead and put the swatches, a picture of the swatches in here, and we'll talk about them real quick. The first one here is Sachet. This is a very metallic pearl color. It's just the color that I used in my brow bone almost every day. I used it in my inner corner as a highlight almost every day. I also used it just on the center of the lid just to like bring to life any other eye look I was doing with this palette, because I feel like it's the most vibrant of the shimmer shades in here and the most white based and just such a pretty color. It was my favorite in the palette by far. The next one is Catwalk. Catwalk is a black purple shimmer that really shows up on your eye more as a black than it does as a purple. The next one is Filter. Filter is a great brow bone color. It's very flesh tone and peachy, as I said earlier. It goes on very nicely. It's a great color also, a great shadow also, just to kind of tone down any look that any shade you might have gone ham on. The next one is On Cam. It is a metallic like yellow bronze color. It is kind of olive in nature. It comes off as really a really pretty green olive color, especially next to Strut, which is the next one in the palette, which is a very gray green shimmer. So that one with On Cam together creates this really beautiful eye look. And I think I have a picture of that you guys will see in a little bit. Then we have Primp, which is a bronzy purple shimmer. This one is a lot more red toned than it is purple, but it is really pretty. It shows up a lot better on, even though it's a little more black based, it shows up on your eye a lot prettier than Catwalk does. And a lot more purple than Catwalk does, but it does have kind of a red tone to it. Then you have Hot Glam, which is your gold metallic. This is a true warm gold shade. It is what is in my eye look today, and it is very gold. The next one is Pose. It is a dark burnt orange red matte. And the last one is Headshot, and it is kind of a mustard brown matte. So that is your 9G Oh My Gorge palette by Morphe. As I'm putting pictures of the eye looks in here that I created, I will say it did perform just a smidge, like I said, just a smidge better with eye primer than it did without. I found that a tackier primer worked best. I used my MAC paint pot most often just because It is the one that sits on top of my vanity. It is the one that I just go for most often. And I did use it with a cream base one as well, just my Urban Decay primer potion, and then again without one. It did dissipate from my eyes about 2 hours in without one, and about 4 is where it started to dissipate with a primer. However, it does last a teensy bit longer, I feel like, with a tackier primer base such as the Paint Pots. Overall, not impressed with this palette. Not impressed at all. Like I said, I have Morphe palettes. I have other Morphe palettes, and they perform so much better than this Morphe palette does. I wish I had not got sucked into the color story of this, because I feel like that is exactly what I fell for with this. I think I might give this palette to my daughter. She did express interest in it last week when I was using it, when I was talking to her about the fact that it wasn't like my favorite palette. She was like, well, you give it to me. I might do that. I know that she only has like a select few palettes, and most of them are very much nude based. So this would give her a little bit of color to add to her collection. And truly, that sachet, that metallic pearl, is a beautiful color, and I think that she would love it. And it would look really good on her as a highlight even, because she's pale enough that pearl base, that white base, wouldn't look too stark on her face. So for those of you who are new here, my suggestion is to go down into my description box, find my playlist for my Palette Roulette series, and go to the first video. Watch that. It tells you a little bit more about this series. But I am going to pull up the roulette wheel that we use to choose a new palette. I am super excited to choose a new palette this week. We are getting into fall. It is kind of icky outside, so I just hope it's a really fall type palette. I would be most excited about that. But this is the wheel that I use. This is from the Decide Now app that I picked up in the Android Play Store, and it is just an amazing little wheel, and you just spin it by touching that middle button there. I just realized I was not on camera when I did that. And then it just picks a new palette for you. And we have the Pat McGrath Sublime palette. So I'm actually kind of excited. Oh, my palettes aren't back there anymore. The Pat McGrath Sublime palette actually lives right on my table here. It did live right on my vanity there, just because, I don't know why actually, but this is it right here. And I love this palette because it is just so pretty. What I don't love about this palette is it is just so plain. Like, other than these 4 shadows right here, like, this is all just super neutral. So what I might do is pack up some of my single shadows to go with this, so that I have a little bit of, you guys love my hair. Like, I desperately need to get in. Oh my god, my hair. I might pack up some of my single shadows to use with this guy. I think that this is quite possibly the most beautifully packaged palette that I have, but it should be for the sheer cost of this palette. What I hate about it is this is the little piece of paper with the shades on it, and like, how am I supposed to carry this with me? Just like that? But then the palette doesn't close? I don't know. But then it sticks out. I don't know. It drives me nuts. I feel like if you're gonna pay this amount for a palette, the shadow name should be on the dang palette. Anyway, I digress. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you liked it enough that you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. or thumbs down. It really does help our channel regardless of how you feel about it. It just shows that there's some engagement here, and I would love for you to do whichever you prefer to this video. Hopefully you like the content, or me enough, however, that you're considering subscribing to my channel before you go. I would love to have you here and love to have conversations with you down in my comment section. I hope that you guys stick around and hit that bell so that you are notified every single time I upload, which is typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Sometimes it's Sunday. There's often extra bonus videos in there, and I would love to have you guys come back and go through the Pat McGrath palette with me next week. Again, thank you guys so much for coming to visit me today, and I hope that you are having an amazing week so far, and that you continue to have an amazing week as well. Thanks again, guys, and until next time, bye.